The man didn't want money. He wanted a name. And when the FBI found out why, it shook everything. The first report hit dispatch at 6:37 p.m., a man shouting threats with a gun in the heart of Jefferson Park, downtown. Within 5 minutes, police had cordoned off 3 blocks. Within 10, the FBI had taken over. Agent Daniel Rhodes arrived with the Bureau's Crisis Response Unit. He was barely out of his SUV when he saw it. A young woman, soaked and shaking, held hostage at the edge of the park's fountain. The suspect, white male, late 30s, agitated, clenched her tightly. In his hand, a black Glock. His eyes darted, paranoid, scanning for threats. All around, sirens wailed. People screamed. But the man in the center of the chaos stayed focused. And the woman, oddly, wasn't crying. Rhodes moved quickly, signaling his team. Tactical snipers took position on nearby rooftops. A command tent popped up across the street. By now, Jefferson Park was locked down like a crime scene. Rhodes studied the hostage through binoculars. Her body language didn't scream terror. It whispered restraint, controlled fear. Her eyes weren't wild. They were calculating, watching. "Elena's inbound," a voice said beside him. Rhodes turned. Special Agent Elena Cruz, FBI's top hostage negotiator in the region, stepped forward, already strapping on her headset. She nodded at Rhodes. "Name? We don't have one yet," he said. "No ID, no demands. No movement beyond yelling. But we have a perimeter and visual. He's not going anywhere." As she approached the tent, the suspect suddenly pulled the woman to her feet and shouted across the park, "I'm not here to hurt anyone. You hear me? I want one thing." Agents raised weapons. The woman flinched but said nothing. "I want Evan Corbin," the man shouted, voice cracking with rage. "You bring me Evan Corbin or she dies." Cruz froze. Rhodes stared at her. "Who's Evan Corbin?" she whispered. "I'll find out," Rhodes said, stepping out and waving a tech over to start a background trace. The woman, later identified as Leah Mercer, was in her mid-20s, assistant at a local PR firm. No criminal history, no known political ties. Her phone had gone silent at 6:22 p.m., moments before the hostage call came in. It had last pinged from her office 2 blocks away. Cruz made her first call to the suspect through the loudspeaker. "This is Agent Cruz with the FBI. We're listening. You've got our attention. Let's talk." The man didn't respond immediately. Instead, he knelt behind the woman, using her as cover, breathing heavily. Then, as if a switch flipped, he yelled, "No tricks. No games. Bring Corbin. You've got 1 hour." Cruz turned back to Rhodes. "You ever heard the name before?" Rhodes shook his head. "We'll run it through federal and international databases." Behind them, analysts worked fast. The name Evan Corbin popped on a restricted contractor list, former intelligence operative. Disappeared 3 years ago during a classified operation in Eastern Europe. Presumed dead, or worse. Rhodes's phone buzzed. It was Leah's father. He just arrived at the perimeter, frantic. Rhodes stepped out to speak to him. "She doesn't know this man," her father insisted. "She's a good girl. Leah wouldn't be involved in anything like this." Rhodes wanted to believe that, but something wasn't adding up. Back inside the command tent, Cruz kept trying to build dialogue. The suspect ignored her, pacing in a tight circle with Leah at his side. She followed every step carefully. And then, for the briefest second, Rhodes saw something that made his pulse jump. Leah looked at her captor. Not with fear, but recognition. Her face didn't flinch. Her lips didn't quiver. Her eyes met his like she'd seen him before. Rhodes leaned into the radio. "She knows him." Cruz responded instantly. "Are you sure?" "I've seen enough to say yes." The suspect now shouted again. 50 minutes. That's all you've got." The clock was ticking. And somewhere out there, Evan Corbin, ghost, operative, or traitor, was about to become the key to a crisis the FBI never saw coming. The sun dropped lower over Jefferson Park, casting long shadows over the tent standoff. Leah Mercer hadn't moved from the fountain. Her clothes were soaked. Her arms trembled slightly, but her posture remained upright, unnaturally composed for someone at gunpoint. The man holding her, now identified as Miles Rourke, didn't look like a lunatic. He looked like someone with a plan. Rhodes stood behind the command tent, staring at the latest intel on the screen. The name Evan Corbin was triggering flags across multiple government systems, State Department, CIA, NSA. Redacted files everywhere. 3 years ago, Corbin had vanished during an off-book mission in Serbia. He was presumed dead, but Rourke clearly didn't think so. Cruz's voice came through the comms. She was trying again. "Miles, we're listening. But we need something from you. Proof Leah's okay?" Miles glanced at the nearest FBI drone and shouted, "She's fine. You want proof? Bring Corbin. I'm done talking." He turned the woman around and forced her to sit again, now with her back to him. She didn't resist. Rhodes muttered under his breath, "He's controlling the stage." He walked away from the noise, phone in hand, and called DC. "I need Corbin's full file. Everything. Even blacked out sections. Send it to my secure tablet." Minutes later, the file appeared. Rhodes scrolled through images, mission reports, confidential memos. One item jumped out, a photograph. Corbin and Rourke, side by side, taken 4 years earlier in a debriefing room in Langley. Both had worked under a temporary clearance program for foreign fieldwork. Both were part of Operation Mercury, an internal investigation into weapons routing through Eastern Europe. And then another photo appeared, Leah Mercer, 21 years old at the time, listed as an intern in the same division. He stared at it, stunned. The hostage wasn't random. She had worked directly under Corbin. Rhodes returned to the tent. "We have a link. Leah interned under Corbin 3 years ago. Same office. She knew him." Cruz blinked. "So did Rourke. Probably. He may think she helped Corbin disappear." Cruz's mind spun. "So this isn't just a kidnapping. It's payback." Meanwhile, agents combed Leah's apartment nearby. No signs of forced entry. Her laptop was still on. She'd left in a hurry. One of the agents opened a locked drawer. Inside was a small metal case with a coded flash drive. They brought it back to the tent. Tex cracked it open. The drive contained encrypted logs, emails, surveillance stills, even financial data tied to a private security firm registered offshore. The signature on the documents? Evan Corbin. Cruz stepped outside and spoke into the megaphone. "Miles, I think we both know what this is about. You think Leah helped Corbin vanish. You think she betrayed you." Silence. Then, finally, a reply. "I know she did. She fed him intel. She helped him run. He left me to rot in a cell while she vanished into a 9-to-5 life." Cruz pushed further. "But why now? Why come out of hiding for this?" Miles shouted, "Because Corbin isn't dead, and Leah's the only one who can find him." Rhodes exchanged glances with Cruz. This wasn't a ransom job. This was a hunt. And Leah was bait. Suddenly, a second radio channel flared to life, an open signal from a tapped burner phone. A man's voice, low and urgent. "Miles, stop this. We were never meant to go public." It was Evan Corbin. The team froze. Tex tried tracing the signal, but it bounced through servers in South America and ended in Europe. Untraceable. But the voice was real. Cruz grabbed her headset. "That confirms it. Corbin's alive." Rhodes leaned closer. "He's trying to stop Rourke. But not out of guilt. Out of fear." Back at the fountain, Leah whispered something, too low for the boom mic to catch. But the angle of her jaw suggested she was speaking calmly to Rourke. Then, with barely a glance, she tilted her head toward the bushes near the fountain. Snipers confirmed. Movement in the trees. A second man armed. Hidden. Rhodes stepped back from the monitors, stunned. "She's signaling us. There's another player on the field." The park wasn't just a hostage zone anymore. It was a trap. And the deeper the Bureau dug, the more it looked like Leah Mercer wasn't just a victim. She might be a key part of a plan that hadn't finished unfolding. The silence in the command tent was heavy. Everyone had heard it. Leah whispered something to her captor and then nodded toward the bushes. Seconds later, a rooftop sniper confirmed what Rhodes feared. There was a second man in the park. He was hidden in dense hedges, wearing dark clothes and carrying a short-barrel rifle. Not aiming. Not moving. Watching. Rhodes ordered all teams to hold fire. They couldn't risk provoking an ambush. He leaned into his radio. "We've got an unknown second male. East perimeter of the fountain. Sniper sighted." No aggressive movement yet. He could be backup. He could be a trigger. Cruz didn't look up from the hostage feed. Or he could be there to stop Miles if he breaks the rules. Which means someone else is giving the orders. The situation was no longer a hostage crisis. It was a layered operation. Too calculated. Too clean. Someone was pulling strings, and Leah might be closer to the center than anyone thought. Back at the fountain, Miles Rourke seemed unaware his backup had been spotted. He paced again, gun hand twitching, eyes bloodshot. Leah remained quiet. She hadn't cried. She hadn't begged. Not once. Rhodes stepped outside and stared across the park. The crowd had been pushed back behind barricades. Helicopters circled overhead. Lights illuminated every corner, but dusk was slipping into early evening. The glow of the city cast long shadows through the trees. An agent walked up with a laptop. "Sir?" Leah's phone backed up to the cloud. "We found something." Rhodes took the laptop. A short video played, security camera footage from inside a downtown parking garage. 3 nights earlier. Leah exited her car. A man waited at the edge of the frame. Hoodie, ball cap, hidden face. He approached her. They spoke for 6 seconds. Then he handed her something, a slim black case. Frame by frame, Rhodes froze it. The face wasn't visible, but the body language was clear. Leah wasn't surprised. She expected him. Same build. Same timing. The man was likely Evan Corbin. Cruz watched over his shoulder. So Leah's not a bystander. She's not a hostage either, Rhodes said. Inside the tent, analysts worked to decode the drive recovered from Leah's apartment. The documents pointed to a ghost operation run by a shell firm in Estonia. Arms trafficking. Ghost money. And signatures, some traced to active defense contractors with current U.S. clearance. The data wasn't just about Corbin. It was about something deeper. Leah had access to a trail that implicated people still in power. Maybe she thought bringing it to light would fix things. Maybe she thought using Rourke was the only way to force the FBI's hand. Back in the park, Rourke barked into the open again. Time's running out. Rhodes moved fast. Get eyes on Leah's body movements. She's trying to tell us something. One of the behavioral analysts zoomed in. Leah's right hand twitched against her knee. 3 fingers tapped in a rhythm. Short, long, short. Morse code. She was saying no. Rhodes focused harder. No to what? Then she tapped again. Gun. No, gun. Cruz asked. Rhodes's voice sharpened. The backup in the bushes. He's not armed. Leah's telling us he's a plan. Maybe a lookout. Maybe not part of Miles's plan. Cruz's headset buzzed again. Field team from Leah's office had recovered another piece, an envelope hidden behind a framed photograph on her desk. Inside was a printed report, Operation Halcyon, Unauthorized Termination Report. Cruz's stomach turned. That's a name I haven't heard in 5 years. Operation Halcyon was a buried joint op between the CIA and a private entity, buried after an internal leak led to 3 civilian deaths overseas. It was supposed to be shut down. Corbin and Rourke had been part of it. Leah's internship was during its final year. Rhodes called it in. We need a direct line to the department. Now, suddenly, in the distance, a commotion erupted. The second man from the bushes emerged, slowly, hands raised. He shouted, "Don't shoot!" Spotlights spun. Agents rushed. He dropped to his knees. He was young, barely out of his 20s. No weapon. No armor. Rhodes arrived as agents cuffed him. Name. The man hesitated, but finally answered. Jonas Corbin. Rhodes froze. Relation? He's my brother. Evan sent me. Cruz stepped forward, stunned. Why? To protect her, Jonas said. Leah. He knew Rourke would come for her. He sent me to keep watch. Rhodes's voice dropped. Then where is Evan now? Jonas looked up, pain in his eyes. If you don't find him soon, you never will. He's running out of time. Behind them, the hostage standoff was entering its final hour. Inside that park, Rourke held a gun. But outside the fence, the truth was the real weapon, and someone had just loaded the next round. The lights from the FBI's mobile towers turned the entire park into a stage. Miles Rourke still had his gun on Leah Mercer. His pacing had slowed, and the energy in his movements hinted at fatigue. But his eyes stayed sharp, locked onto every motion from the perimeter. He knew his time was running out. Just beyond the barricades, Jonas Corbin sat in handcuffs inside a field tent. He didn't fight. He didn't speak until Agent Rhodes entered and closed the door behind them. Rhodes kept his voice even. "You said your brother sent you to protect Leah. Why?" Jonas swallowed hard. "Because Evan knew Rourke would come. He told me if anything happened, if Leah went missing, I had to be nearby. Watch her. Make sure she didn't end up as leverage." "So you were baiting the FBI?" Rhodes asked. "No. I was hoping to stop Rourke before he got to her. I failed." Rhodes sat across from him. "Evan's alive. We traced his voice earlier, but we haven't located him. He's not hiding from you," Jonas said. "He's hiding from the people that betrayed him. The same ones who used Operation Halcyon to run weapons through Eastern Europe and left him behind to take the fall." "Why involve Leah?" Cruz asked, stepping into the room. Jonas looked at her. "Because she's the only one Evan trusted. They weren't just lovers. She helped him leak the first files. She was part of exposing the mission. She knew the cost." Rhodes felt the weight of the words settle. "And what's the endgame here?" Evan wanted the truth out. Miles wanted revenge. Leah thought maybe, just maybe, this chaos would force the truth into daylight. Cruz shook her head. "And she risked being killed in the process." Jonas looked down. She always knew the risk. Outside, Rourke shifted position. He spoke louder now, more desperate. "You think I care about surviving this? You think I care about your negotiations? I want one thing. Bring me Corbin, or I'll finish what he started." Leah didn't move. Her eyes were open, steady. Rhodes left the tent and made a call to headquarters. He requested access to satellite communications, private defense contractor logs, and one name, a director who had once overseen Halcyon before it vanished from federal records. An analyst pulled Rhodes aside minutes later. "Sir, we found something." It was a hidden message, buried in one of the encrypted folders recovered from Leah's apartment. A timestamp, coordinates, and a phrase, "Last Light Metro Sector 6. Rhodes recognized it instantly. Sector 6 was an abandoned underground subway terminal beneath the city, decommissioned for years. Perfect for an off-the-grid meeting. He turned to Cruz. "Rourke's plan doesn't end in the park. If Evan's involved, it's going to finish underground." They acted fast. A tactical unit was dispatched. A tunnel map was pulled. Entrance was 3 blocks south, beneath an old maintenance hatch. Rhodes led the team himself. As they descended into the darkness, flashlights cutting through dust and debris, their radios crackled. One of the signals was clear. A voice. Evan Corbin. He wasn't shouting. He wasn't angry. He was calm, resigned. "I didn't want this. I told them to stop. I warned them Leah would be dragged into it." Rhodes spoke into his mic. "Evan, this is Agent Rhodes. We can talk, but we need you to come out." "I can't," Evan said. "If I show my face, she dies. Rourke will pull the trigger." "Then what do you want?" Rhodes asked. "I want the Bureau to hear the truth. I want a secure line, uncut feed. Let me speak." The team paused. Rhodes signaled for the line to be opened. "Live broadcast. Private link." They tapped in. Evan's voice, now clearer, told the story. 3 years ago, Halcyon wasn't just an intel op. It was a funnel. Rogue agents, defense executives, and outside nations worked together to traffic stolen weapon systems through NATO routes. When Evan discovered it, he reported up the chain. No one listened. So he leaked it. "They tried to bury me," he said. "Tried to frame me. Rourke got caught in the middle. Leah helped me run." Rhodes asked the question that mattered. "Is Leah innocent?" "No," Evan said softly. "She's not innocent. But she's not guilty either. She's the only one who had the courage to keep going." Rhodes emerged from the tunnel and called Cruz. "He's in the open. He wants us to listen." Cruz stepped forward with a megaphone. "Miles, listen carefully. Corbin's talking now. We're transmitting live. You can hear everything." A speaker was activated. Evan's voice echoed across the park. "Miles, I know you're angry. I know what they did to us. But Leah didn't betray you. She saved you. She stopped me from pulling the trigger. She pulled me out. Miles stiffened. His hand shook slightly. She came back for you, Evans said, because she believed there was still something good in both of us. The silence lasted only seconds, but it felt like hours. Then Rourke lowered his gun. Just an inch. That was all the opening they needed. A sniper took the shot. Non-lethal, shoulder impact. Miles dropped to the ground. Leah fell forward but scrambled away. Agents moved in. The scene was secured in 12 seconds. Rhodes rushed to her. She was shaken but conscious. I didn't think it would work, she whispered. Rhodes nodded. You didn't just survive. You stopped a war. Leah looked at the speaker one last time, Evan's voice fading. This isn't over, he said. Not until the whole truth is known. And then the line went dead. The sniper's shot had been clean. Miles Rourke was alive, conscious, and bleeding through his left shoulder. He was restrained before he could move again. The weapon was kicked away. The hostage, Leah Mercer, was safe. But in the eyes of everyone watching, nothing about this ending felt simple. Rhodes walked beside the medics as they carried Rourke to the ambulance. Rourke didn't scream. He didn't plead. He just stared ahead, mouth slightly open, as if everything he believed had slipped through his fingers the moment Evan's voice came through the speakers. Cruz was already walking Leah toward the command tent. Her legs were unsteady. Her hands had stopped trembling, but her face was blank. She hadn't spoken since the shot rang out. Inside the tent, she sat silently while agents brought her water. Cameras rolled. The director of field operations from D.C. was now patched in via secure video. This wasn't just a case anymore. It was a federal crisis. Rhodes sat across from her. We know you weren't just a hostage, he said quietly. We know you knew Corbin was alive, and that you were helping him. She didn't deny it. We need to know everything now. Leah's voice was faint. I didn't plan it this way. I thought if I gave Rourke just enough to surface, he'd reach out. I didn't expect him to kidnap me. I didn't think he'd bring a gun, but you knew it could get this far. I had to believe the truth mattered more than my safety. Rhodes leaned forward. Did Evan put you up to this? No. I asked him to let me help. He said no. I went ahead anyway. I wanted people to hear what happened. What our government buried. Cruz entered with a file. It contained the decrypted material from the flash drive Leah had hidden. Thousands of pages. Names, photos, payment records. It was more than evidence. It was a blueprint of corruption. One page showed satellite images of weapons stockpiles. Another listed the names of defense officials who had approved unauthorized shipments. Some of them were still in office. Others had been promoted. Rhodes placed a tablet in front of Leah. On the screen was a pause video. The face of Evan Corbin appeared, seated in a dimly lit room, addressing the camera directly. I've chosen to record this in case I disappear again. What I uncovered wasn't just a betrayal, it was a machine. An operation that fed war for profit. And they made sure no one talked. Until now. Rhodes looked at Leah. This video, he sent it to you? She nodded. He pressed play. Evan's voice filled the room. Calm. Methodical. He named names. He explained routes, logistics, chain of command. He showed internal memos, wire transfers, and whistleblower reports that were never acted on. He didn't accuse without proof. He backed every claim with files and footage. When the video ended, the tent was silent. The director from D.C. finally spoke. Agent Rhodes, secure that data. Transfer everything through direct line to the Justice Department. No press. No leaks. Yes, sir. Leah was taken into protective custody. She didn't protest. Her silence was heavier now. She had done what she came to do. Outside, a car waited to transfer her to a secure site. As she climbed in, she turned to Rhodes. Will you go after Evan? He paused. Not yet. What he gave us changes too much. First, we clean up the mess. Then we find him. She nodded once. Tell him. I kept my promise. 2 days later, the files from Leah's flash drive hit the highest levels of government. Internal reviews began. Quiet arrests followed. By the end of the week, 3 major defense contractors were under investigation, and 4 federal officials had resigned. Miles Rourke remained in custody. His cooperation was limited. He blamed everyone, Corbin, Leah, the Bureau, but never denied what had happened. Evan Corbin's location remained unknown until the morning Rhodes found a sealed envelope in his office mailbox. No postage, no fingerprints, just a message. You did the right thing. Keep doing it. I'll be watching. Inside was a single photograph. Rhodes, Cruz, and Leah all standing near the park fountain that night, taken from a rooftop. Whoever took it had been close. Rhodes locked the photo in his drawer and stared out the window. The park looked normal again. No signs of what happened. Just grass, families, and fountains. But the truth had escaped. And it was alive. Somewhere out there, so was Evan Corbin. And the Bureau knew he wasn't done.